What's up, Dean? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing fantastic. I'm only 2-2. I'm going to consider Oregon's winning, so I'm only 2-2 so far.
I am sharing us in the background here. So far, I think I'm. So we did five. We do five. We added Montana State. Um, I'm gonna assume Oregon's gonna win. So I got Alabama right, Oregon right, Ole Miss right, and Montana State right. The only one I got wrong was Texas A&M. So I'm 4-1 on the day. Um, that's a pretty good day for me. Chris, however, is 2-3 for the day.
Brokenhearted.
Chris is very brokenhearted. That is a fact because well, we're gonna actually get there because Dean, let's discuss the first game yesterday.
Okay.
Alabama, Oklahoma. All right. So I predicted Alabama to win this game. I said Alabama was going to win this game by 2 scores. It's all documented. It's on my show, it's James' show. So what Oklahoma had won last time, but the circumstances around it were wild, and the chances of that happening again with a Kalen DeBoer coach team were low. And it turns out I was right. Alabama did exactly what I said they were going to do. They got down early, they caught up, and then they just ran the clock. They just scored and ran the clock, scored and ran the clock, and then they just bled it out of Oklahoma. You go back to the my show Thursday. This is exactly what I said was going to happen. I was like, this is how it's going to happen. Everybody on the panel picked Oklahoma with me, but I'm like, I'm telling you right now, like this works out well for Alabama. They're going to score and they're going to hold the ball and they're going to play their top 10 defense and they're going to see what happens and they're going to come out with a 2-score win. And Dean, that's exactly what happened.
Well, yeah, everybody on my show picked Oklahoma, including myself. But, I mean, the momentum was such on the Oklahoma side. I mean, they had the crowd, the momentum, everything, the atmosphere, and they jump off to a 17-0 lead. And I believe I can't even remember the final score, but I don't think they scored again until it was a meaningless field goal, I believe, at the end of the game.
Well, final score is 34-24 Alabama.
Okay, so they scored a meaningless touchdown.
Yes.
Yeah, that was after Alabama ran the score up.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I mean, how? I'm just really confused. I mean, this is something my Iowa Hawkeyes would do, a la USC, blow out to a big lead, dominate, and then just sit on it the rest of the game and lose.
Well, that's not what happened. Not. I mean, it is, but what really happened was they didn't get the lead and try to sit on it. Like they got the lead, and then they threw a pick six, and then the punter dropped the ball. Which is crazy. I mean, I've seen it happen before. People act like this is the only time it's ever happened in history. I've seen it happen a few times in my life, so I mean, it's not that irregular. Well, now
No.
Alabama scores again. Next thing you know, all the momentum's on Alabama side, and Oklahoma's just in quicksand. The harder they were fighting, the quicker they were sinking. Kalen DeBoer is a fantastic coach. I did say I didn't know how this was going to work at Alabama with his style and transfer portal, but man, he has proved me wrong. What he's been able to do through the injuries and adversities, and now he's won a playoff game.
Yeah.
Be brilliant. Kalen DeBoer is a fantastic coach.
I know somebody who's really upset that Alabama won this game because they were expecting to hire a new coach today, and that would have been him from Alabama to Michigan. Well, although I don't think he would have taken the job, but they said that they were fighting really hard, that Michigan, that he was their number one choice, but they really needed him to lose this playoff game.
Here's the thing, though. Kalen DeBoer was never going to Michigan. He came out when his name was linked to Penn State and said, "This is the one time I'm going to say I'm not going anywhere. I'm happy where I'm at." And he hasn't addressed it since. He was never going to Michigan. Michigan wanted him. I mean, for sure, he's a fantastic coach. The problem is, why would you leave Alabama and you're in the playoffs and everything is going well? for even if they would have lost to Oklahoma, who was a fantastic team, everything's still going well. You made the playoffs. That's the expectation, right? In year 2. So he's met that. There's no problem for Caleb DeBoer. There's no danger. People love him. He was never going to Michigan. It was never going to happen. Michigan, I'm sure they pushed hard, but it just wasn't going to happen. Unfortunately, for Michigan, they've been riddled in scandal for the past 10 years. I'm not an Ohio State fan at all, but facts are facts. They've been riddled in scandals for 10 years. Who wants that job after all that? Like,
No.
they're not going to get a Kalen DeBoer. It's just not going to happen.
Right. Yeah. Do you know that you keep going in and out of light?
Oh, yeah, because it's probably because my boy's iPad. So,
okay.
yeah.
All righty. Well, the one thing is I think, Alabama's people were kind of questioning whether, as a 3-loss team, should they have gotten into the playoffs. Well, I think they answered their question last night. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. They took a 2-loss team and handled them in Oklahoma, in Norman, and handled them, really after the first quarter was over, it was all Alabama.
So here's what I say to the people that said Alabama didn't deserve to be there. Let's look at their body of work though. Just watch YouTube and get over there, and I'll be there in a minute. All right, so let's look at their body of work. Okay, so they lost 3 games, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna just go ahead and pull it up 100% here, because I want to walk through, because I was looking at it day before yesterday, Alabama and what they went through this year. So I'm gonna roll through their season. They had 3 losses, right? Okay. So they lose to Florida State at the beginning of the year, and something that would never happen again. Like, if Alabama played Florida State right now, they would beat them 52-6. And you'd be a fool not to think that that's exactly what would happen if they played again. And then they beat Wisconsin, and then they went then they went to Georgia at night and beat them. That's when I knew Alabama was a threat. That's when I knew Alabama was a damn good team. I'm like, damn, they just went to Georgia at night and won, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they go and they beat Vanderbilt, who was ranked 16 or 15 at the time, right? They beat them handily, 30-14. I'm like, damn, they're good. Then they beat Missouri. Then they beat the hell out of Tennessee. Then they beat South Carolina. They had to have a little comeback there, but they got through it. Beat the hell out of LSU. Lost to Oklahoma in some weird circumstances, 4 turnovers. Alabama never has turnovers, so I knew that wasn't going to happen again when they played. Then they beat Auburn, and then their 3rd loss is to Georgia in the SEC championship game. If there was no SEC championship game, they're in the playoffs anyway. So it didn't matter that they lost this game.
Mm-hmm.
The point is they lost it to Georgia. And
Yep.
Georgia is the best team in the country. And if you don't think Georgia is the best team in the country, you are not a serious football fan. And Alabama beat Georgia. So I'm looking at it this way: what Alabama went through, and then to go on the road in the first round of the playoffs and knock off a top 10 Oklahoma team, man, that's dangerous, man. Kalen DeBoer out there sending messages to people.
No, okay. First of all, you may think Georgia's the best team in America, but right now Indiana has the #1 seed and the #1 spot. So we'll see what happens if they happen to meet each other.
And that's fine, and I get it, and it's a respect for the season they had. But I'm just going to be real honest with you. Indiana's #1 seed; they deserve every bit of it. I'm not disputing that.
Mm-hmm.
Is Indiana the best team in the country? Absolutely not. Ohio State and Indiana had nothing to play for in the Big Ten championship game, and a kicker never misses 27-yard field goal, so they weren't even playing hard in the first place. Here's the reality of the situation. If Indiana played Ohio State with serious consequences on the line, or Georgia with serious consequences on the line, they would get beat down by 17. Like, that's just reality. Georgia and Ohio State are the best 2 teams in the country, and you can't convince me otherwise.
Wait a minute. I gotta check my notes here. And it also depends about who are they going to play in matchups. Okay. So
Georgia gets Ole Miss and Ohio State gets Miami.
Yep. Okay.
But we'll get to that in a minute. We'll do predictions for next
Yeah,
week.
no, I get it. I was looking. Where do I have Miami? Oh, I predicted them to lose. They're not even on my list.
So the Miami Texas A&M game, we'll go ahead and go to that one next. It's the only game of the week I lost. But if you go back to my podcast Thursday, like literally, I'm like, man, I struggle with this game. I was like, because when Carson Beck is not making mistakes, Miami wins every time. I'm like, but this is on the road at Texas A&M. But Texas A&M, they beat. I don't know. They acted crazy, almost lost to Arkansas, like bunch of strange things. So I was like, I think Miami should win this game, and that's what I said on my podcast. I was like, but I just cannot pick against Texas A&M at home in this moment. Well, two teams went on the road and won playoff games this year. That is crazy work, man. And I knew Miami had a fantastic chance. I almost picked them. You can go back to the show. I was struggling. I almost picked them, but I didn't. Like I picked Texas A&M. But Miami's defense is legit. I did not realize how good their defense was. However, their offense, see, that's not going to fly in the next round, which we'll get to later. But, wow. Congrats to Miami for winning the game.
You got any gummies?
No, I don't have any gummy bears.
Yeah. All right. So I did pick against Miami. I thought A&M was going to be too much for them. And I bought into the hype that everybody said that Miami shouldn't be in the playoffs either.
Oh, that's crazy. They deserve to be there.
Yeah. And yeah, they proved it. How many? You go in and you win in the first round, especially when you're the lower seeded team. You deserve to be there. No doubt about it.
And you won on the road too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, put the A&M people to sleep. But that was, can you think of a more boring game than that, though, honestly? But missed field goals. I mean, have you ever seen between this game and the game last night how many field goals were missed? And these kickers are supposed to be elite.
They supposed to be. That's the thing, though. This game was poetry. The Alabama-Oklahoma game was poetry, but so was Texas A&M Miami. A lot of people are like, oh, that's just a boring game, blah, 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 whatever. But if you look at what happened in this game, man, like defenses showed up and showed out, and that's not really what not really what you expected from this game. You expected a high-scoring, explosive game. So what we saw here was poetry. Two teams motivated to win this game, and Miami scores a late touchdown on the road to grab the glory. This was a beautiful game. I don't care what anybody says. This was anything but boring. This was a beautiful ending. This is what college football is about. It's just a deadlock, hard-nosed battle in the trenches game, and then Miami, bam, right toward the end of the finally punches one through and wins the game. Poetry. Congratulations, Miami.
Yeah. Well, I was expecting to watch an offensive. I'm an offensive-minded person, so I just love it when the game ends up like 45, 42, something like that, And so when I start thinking, I was reading that witchcraft. And got sidetracked comment.
James always says my wife is a witch. So, and then my wife's a Bama fan. So after they went down 17-0, next thing you know, the game was tied. James was like, she's a witch.
Yeah, about that. Yeah. So I got that so taken back by that comment. I don't even remember where I was going with my comment.
Well, it happened. But at the end, after we're done with this, before we pick next week, there's a segment that I want to get into and a segment you want to get into, but we'll get there.
Okay.
Let's move on to the next game. Ole Miss and Tulane. All right.
So can I just say,
go ahead.
I only watched the first half because it started to become a blowout, and I probably, knowing I was coming on here tonight, probably should have watched the whole game. But what I did was watch the Iowa. I flipped over and watched the Iowa women get smoked by Connecticut today. So
Man, UConn's on a different level, bro. I mean,
they are. Are they not? I mean, tell me about it.
man, UConn's the best team in the country. That's factual. But so I'm looking at this game, man, and Ole Miss and Tulane. So on our show, Chris picks Tulane to win this game, and I'm like, Chris, man, what are you talking about? And he's like, Tulane's going to win this game because Pete Golden's never had to do time management. I mean, he had his reasons, like no doubt about that. But I was like, Chris, I understand what you're saying, but it's just not going to happen that way. I actually predicted this game to be 48-10. That was my prediction. It ended up being 41-10. So I was really close here too.
Right.
But I was like, Chris, this is going to be belt to ass, bro. I mean, like, I know Lane Kiffin ain't there, but the athletes alone can win this game. Well, you know, I'm like, and they did. They beat the hell out of Tulane. The G5. Well, you know, we're gonna get in that in a minute. What's your thoughts on this game?
All right. Oh, first of all, it started out kind of close at the very, very beginning. You know, I mean, I think they were down like 14-3, and I think they had a chance to score, but I think they did not. And I think if I remember right, they missed a field goal.
Yes.
Trying to remember. But they were in this game in the first quarter. After that, Ole Miss just kind of took over the game. But can I be honest and just say Tulane should have never been playing this game in this tournament? And I know you started to say something about the group of five, and
I'm going to get to that.
Okay. But as far as I'm concerned, yeah, this is a game that Tulane should never have been playing in. It should have been somebody else, maybe a Notre Dame, maybe in this spot. You know, I don't know. Some Power 5 team needed to be there, or Power 4, I'm sorry.
And I'm going to get there. Okay. So I'm not commenting on that. All right. So we saw what happened there. Ole Miss beat the bloody hell out of Tulane, which we knew was coming. All right. So let's flip-flop to halftime right now for Oregon and James Madison. It's currently 34-3, should be 35-3. Oregon missed an extra point. They scored 5 touchdowns in the first half against James Madison. Let that soak in. They've scored 5 touchdowns in the first half.
Just James about every time they touch the ball.
Right. I'm going to get into it, but I'm just going to analyze the game real quick. Basically, what we're seeing here is overmatched. James Madison is overmatched and outcoached, and it's showing already. What's your thoughts on this before I get into my rant?
Okay, first of all, is James Madison a former FCS team in the division championship?
Yeah, they've only been FBS for a few years.
Okay, and the fact that they're still winning shocks me. But alrighty, I'm going to use your words. This whole first half was an overmatched. They were over. James Madison was way overmatched. They had a couple of highlight moments that their local news media can throw up on TV tonight and say, "Hey, here was a good moment we had. Here's a highlight moment." But you know, there's no way that they were going to win this game, and I knew that from the beginning. I expected a blowout. I got a blowout. And with Ole Miss, I expected a blowout, and I got a blowout. You know, unless Tulane, unless James Madison finds a way to come back in this game, and it's not going to happen because it's Oregon at home.
Correct. So what we're saying is 34-3. It should be 35-3. Just say it should be 5 touchdowns. This game, there is going to be no comeback for James Madison. I know everybody's like, well, there's always time. There's always time if you're a good team. James Madison, I mean, they won the Sun Belt, bro. And just because Duke pulled off a miracle, they're in there. So I'm here's where I'm going with this. The playoff system is broken. There's no fucking reason whatsoever that Tulane and James Madison are in this play. I said this on my show Thursday, too, before these games were played. There's no reason these teams are in here. So you took opportunities away from teams like Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, Virginia, worthy, deserving teams that should be in this. Like, if we're watching Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, that's a different fun ball game. And you know what I'm saying? If we're watching Oregon and Virginia, or Oregon and Notre Dame, that's a different caliber ball game right there, man. That's the This is craziness. Take the G5 out of this equation. They're never going to do anything. Like this is insanity. That Boise State team that beat Oklahoma, everybody's like, oh, Boise State could have won the national title. If Boise State would have raised their fucking glass to LSU that year, they would have lost by 30, and then we would have saw exactly what the G5 is. No disrespect to them, but these Power 4 schools, man, they're pouring 20, 30, 40, 50 million dollars a year into these.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't compete with that. That it's not disrespectful, it's reality.
Right.
And Tulane and James Madison, hats off to your great season. And I think there should be a G5 tournament as well. I really do. And we could call it a national championship of the G5 or whatever. That's what needs to happen, because, you know, that would be a fun tournament to watch. But they have no business being in here. Notre Dame and Vanderbilt should be in these two spots right now, or Virginia, period. Like these three teams should be in here, and it's a disgrace that we're having to watch James Madison and Tulane and not Notre Dame and Vanderbilt.
I absolutely agree with you, because number one, I'd rather Vanderbilt be in the playoffs than us having to play them. But that's a story for another day. But absolutely agree with you. The group of five actually need their own tournament. Okay, and we're thinking about expanding to 16 teams next year. Are we going to add a couple of more group of five teams in there? Because, I mean, let's face it. I mean, we're going to get the 16 teams in because Notre Dame, you know, pulling the stunt that they pulled by when they didn't get in, they're going to cow to Notre Dame and say, okay, now we got to expand it to 16. This way we guarantee Notre Dame, Vanderbilt, and Virginia all get in next year.
Here's the thing. It's going to be 12 next year. It could be 16 the year after, but next year's set.
Okay.
But it needs to be 16, because here's where you can make it fair. If you just have to have the G5 in there, if you have 16 teams, that's more than enough teams. There are not 16 teams in the country that can win the national championship that close in how good they are. That's not possible. So if you have 16 teams, by all means, throw in 2 G5 teams and put 14 P4 schools in there. So be that. I'm okay with that. Like, I am okay with that. But you're looking at a tournament this year, and you really just want the 12 best teams in there, because that's the gap. Really, the gap's probably 8, but 12. But James Madison and Tulane, they're not. They have no business being in this tournament. That's crazy talk. Take that away.
No, absolutely, 100% agree with your comments. I mean, I've been saying the same thing. These teams don't belong, and I'm already asking the question with the new Pac-12 next year. That's made up of 90% of Big West teams next year. Are they a group of 5 team, or are they going to be a Power 5 team? Who knows?
So they're not gonna be power, man. Their best team's gonna be Boise State. So let's not trip on that yet. Boise State went 8-4 and won the Mountain West. No, they're gonna be a group of 6 team conference until they can get better competition. Maybe lure some of those Big 12 teams back out west now that they're stable or whatever. But that's just. Duke deserves to be in this tournament more than James Madison, more than Tulane, because competition matters. So Duke played in a P4 conference and they won it. And next year it will be that way. Next year it is the ACC champions guaranteed, the Big 12 champions guaranteed, SEC and Big 10 champions are guaranteed. So next year in this scenario, Duke would be in, and Duke deserves to be in based on that. They played in a P4 conference and they won it. So the best part about having a 7-5 Duke team in the playoffs is just because you had a couple 4 losses and your season's not over, if you can win your conference, you're still in. That's what makes NCAA basketball great, the conference tournaments, because you could have a year where you only win 10 games and then all of a sudden you get hot in the tournament. You're in the NCAA tournament with a 10-win season. That's the fun of it.
Yeah.
So having
and then a bubble team gets to stay home because because that 10-win team took away a spot.
Right, but that's the fun of it. So that would be, having Duke in this tournament would make sense because they won a P4 conference. The fact that they're not in and James Madison is a disgrace.
Absolutely, and they're showing it tonight. I mean, the fact that they're going there and getting their butts kicked, and earlier today, Tulane getting their butts kicked, just proves that they shouldn't be there. That's, it is what it is, so.
It is. It is what it is. I hate it, but they have no business being there. Anyway, you wanted to talk about this. This is your graphic you sent me.
Yeah, let me pull it up on my phone because I can't see it on my screen. So I just thought this was interesting. If anybody else can see this, it's all the teams in the playoffs, and it just gives you the percentage of starters that are recruits and the starts by transfers. Now you'll notice that the most elite teams are starting more recruits than they are transfers. But by the time you get to Oregon, it starts to flip a little bit. Like James Madison has 42% transfer starting, but A&M even has 44% starting, and Miami has 53% starting, Tulane 55%, Texas Tech 63%, Indiana 65%, but we knew that they were built around transfers, and Ole Miss 66%. And so the lower you go on this chart, the higher they are. Like Georgia's got 90% recruits. That just tells me that they're building something good, and they don't have to go out and buy people out of the transfer portal. They've got something good going. So does Ohio State. Now, Oklahoma, there's quite a bit of a drop to Oklahoma where they're at 68%. But, Oklahoma is still, they're not like Nebraska. They didn't fall on hard times for years, and they can still recruit people who remember Oklahoma being an elite team. And so they're still getting high school recruits in there that are elite, And so, I mean, you have anything to say on that or at all?
Oh, yeah. So that's funny you say that. So last year, will you hand me another one, please? During last season, so this was in last football season. I actually had this conversation, Dean, on my show several times. What I call it is mercenaries versus culture. Thank you, baby. So what you're seeing is teams that build culture are winning big, and mercenaries fall flat. So perfect example, Florida State versus Georgia. They both got left out of the playoffs a few years ago. Florida State was undefeated. So Florida State had is that full? Oh, I'll take it. Florida State had 14 people sit out. Georgia had 24 people sit out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they played each other. Georgia won this game 63-3. So what you saw there, let's welcome Terry here. What you saw, hey, Terry, how you doing?
Hey, Terry.
I'm doing good.
So what you saw there was Georgia had a culture, a foundation. And when the mercenaries came together, that didn't work well. And that's why I'm saying Indiana is going to lose to Alabama. Alabama has culture. Indiana is a group of mercenaries, which just fell apart last year during the playoffs because culture's always going to win. You have stable programs like Ohio State with Ryan Day, Georgia with Kirby Smart. They're all Kalen DeBoer in Alabama. They're always going to be in the playoffs because of their culture. You know what I'm saying? Like it's.
I don't want to say that they'll always be in the playoffs. I think that's making a presumptuous comment, but you can always say that they're going to be in the running for the playoffs. Is that better?
So I'll even go deeper than that.
Okay.
More than likely, because it's not always going to happen, more than likely these teams will be in the playoffs year in and year out. That fair?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at with that. So we're not doing a very long show tonight, Terry. We recapped some of the previous games. We talked about some things and how Tulane and James Madison didn't deserve to be in the playoffs. The G5 has no business in there, and that we both agreed to that. Before we move on to predictions, what do you think about that? Did James Madison and Tulane deserve to be in there?
No, absolutely not. It would have been a lot. It would have been a lot better, honestly, to see Notre Dame, even Vandy, squeak in there. Besides,
that's exactly what we said too.
Yeah,
we did. We said Vanderbilt deserved to be there more than them two.
And Indiana's going to beat Alabama because Mendoza said thank you to Jesus as Lord and Savior. So, Andrew, you should know better.
I'm sure Ty Simpson.
You're always thanking him. So,
God doesn't take sides.
So, are you saying because he thanked his God that that's going to be an automatic loss?
No, win.
He said it'd be an automatic win because he thanked God.
Oh, okay. All righty. I'm
Yeah,
sorry. I misunderstood you.
Terry is a big Christian like me. Stop.
Well, I
buddy.
am too. So I'm right there with both of you.
Like
Right.
the Dean of Mean over here.
Right.
What's that?
The Dean of Mean over here.
Yeah.
So,
I've commented on your show a few times there, Dean.
Oh,
you
yeah.
have-
Yeah.
Terry's always
Yeah.
commenting.
Terry, okay. I know which one you are now. I won't say your last name since you didn't put it there.
That's
So-
all right. I mean, I don't care. I've done it. You could say my name.
So Oregon is winning 34-6 at halftime. And this is Chris said he was going to be on the show with us, but then he had some family come into town. He sent me some pictures, so he couldn't be here. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to pick on him. So Chris told me on my show that Pete Golding and Ole Miss did not know how to run clock management, so Tulane was going to win the game. I told Chris that shit was crazy talk, bro. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? And then he goes, we get to Oregon and JMU. He goes, I think Oregon wins, but I think it's going to be a close game, like 30-22 type of game. I said, Chris, what are you smoking, bro? Like, Oregon is going to beat them by 40.
Xanax.
Yeah, I mean, like, and Chris had a bad day today. Out of 5, he only got 2 right. So
Which two were?
I'm gonna
Was
run
he
it.
right
I'm gonna
about?
run it down. All right.
Huh?
So we picked Alabama, Oklahoma, James Madison, Oregon, A&M, Miami, Ole Miss, Tulane, and Montana State. Right. So in the Alabama Oklahoma game, James and Chris picked Oklahoma.
So did I changed
everybody
it.
else, I picked Alabama. All right. So one.
I thought Simpson was going to be hurt.
Yeah,
I
Chris
thought he had
lied
like
to
a
you.
back injury or something.
I tried to tell you that he was playing. I don't know. Chris kept saying that he was out and injured. I said, no, he's not. But okay.
I mean, it's hard. Okay, think about it. In my defense, when Chris gets to talking, I get to sleeping. So therefore, my hearing's cut off by 80%.
I love it.
You like the natural roofie.
So
He's
second game, JMU, Oregon. We all picked Oregon. Even though Chris said it would be close. Woo! 34-6 at halftime. 5 touchdowns Oregon put up in the first half. All right. Texas A&M, Miami. We all lost that one. We all picked Texas A&M. Even though Terry, you were on my show, you know how I said I really think Miami's going to win this game, but I just can't pick against Texas A&M. I should have just stuck with myself. But I let the road game mess with me. I knew Miami was going to win this game, Josh. But, either way, I picked wrong.
The thing that surprised me most about that game was the lack of scoring.
Yes,
I thought it was
I was telling the same thing.
Higher scoring than that.
I was expecting an offensive game like 45-42 or something like that.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question, Terry, because Dean said this. Do you feel like this game was boring, Texas A&M and Miami?
For what they're both capable of, yes. I mean,
So-
I know there's always the defensive guys, but
Allow me to give you another point of view.
okay.
This game was poetry. What
Poetry.
you saw was 2 teams coming in here with a gritty will to win, and both defenses stepped up and said, not on me. They came in there with great defensive game plans, and it was back and forth and missed field goals and momentum swings and everything you want in a college football game, bro. And then with just a few minutes to go in the game, Miami finally punches it across to get the win on the road in the first round of the playoffs. Dude, this was a thing of beauty. This was poetry.
Yeah, it's like haiku. You know what haiku is, right?
I sure do.
Japanese poetry. It doesn't necessarily have to rhyme like regular poetry, but it's still considered poetry.
So you don't see the beauty in this?
No.
That's crazy talk,
It's
man.
like that Super Bowl with the Pats and the Rams.
Dude, it's a deadlock game. Momentum's bad. You're missing field, and then somebody finally punches it in toward the end. You're looking at it from a pessimist point of view. I'm looking at it from that was a beautiful, beautiful football game. Everybody hated Alabama and LSU. What was it, 9-6 that year? Oh, yeah. That was the suckiest game ever. Poetry. That game was poetry.
I mean, it's like this. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, we'll move on to the next game. Ole Miss and Tulane. Chris picked Tulane to outright win this game, and James and I told him that was crazy talk. And it indeed was crazy talk as Tulane won this game belt to ass. And then we picked Montana State. So we all picked Montana State just because Montana State's just been out there playing the best football in FCS. This was the national championship game. Montana State is 100% going to win the next game and win the national championship. But with that being said, Montana's a good team. Montana only lost one game all year, and that was to Montana State.
So wait a minute. Hang on for a second. I, too, picked Montana State in this game. But when I turned the game off, they were trailing.
So
didn't Montana lead most of this game?
Not most of the game, no. But funny story on that, Dean. Something you'll appreciate. So the score was 23-20.
Okay.
Montana, you are indeed right. And then, in the course of 5 minutes, it was 41-23 Montana State.
Oh, geez.
5 minutes they put on that much points. They ended up winning the game 48-23, belt to ass over Montana. Montana State's the best team in the country. Nobody's better than them. They're going to get Illinois State, who knocked off North Dakota State. So that's really cool. This is a cool Cinderella team that's going to go play Montana State. Illinois State knocked out undefeated #1 North Dakota State. So it's going to be a good matchup. I mean, it's going to be fun, man. FCS football is great.
Yeah, I mean, actually, I do go. I kind of do enjoy watching it. And they're
too.
not real defensive type games because there are usually a lot of scoring going on in these games. And but yeah, if I remember right, one of the Montanas was #2, and one of the other ones was #3.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so. I don't remember who had what ranking, but I take it that #1 was North Dakota State, and they got whooped.
Correct. North Dakota State, they got beat. That was crazy. Illinois State's a really good football team. That coach of Illinois State, what he's done for them in 1 year, is going to get him a big time head coaching gig in FBS. You'll see him in a Sun Belt school or an American Athletic to prove his mettle soon. I guarantee. I don't know who it is. I'm gonna do some research, but this is an amazing coaching job from him.
I don't want to hear that they're getting that good because it's not this next year's schedule, but I think in the next couple of years, Iowa has Illinois State on their schedule. And, of course, we played North Dakota State 1 year and lost to them. And it turned out to be what was promising season turned out to be pretty bad season, like 7-5 or something. After that North Dakota State game, things just pretty much went south. But anyhow,
so those smaller schools like that, though, those are great sleeper picks for later round offensive linemen in the NFL. If you ever think about it, because I know Cody Mock, I think he was a 3rd round pick for the Bucks, and he's a starting guard for the Bucks. He came out of North Dakota State. I mean, you got to look at some of those smaller. They might not be as big as some of the bigger schools, but these motherfuckers are probably bench pressing Buffaloes just for fun because there's nothing else to do in Montana or North Dakota State.
Here's the thing, though. You're not going to have to worry about that, even if you play them in a few years. This, like I said, this coach is getting promoted. Like he'll be at a P4, a FBS school. Probably this year because there's still more terminations to come and stuff like that. I think you'll see him at this level. So even if he stayed, Illinois State's not beating Iowa.
Didn't we even discuss also promoting some of those schools like North Dakota State, Montana State, South Dakota State to move them up to the Mountain West? We thought how good that would have been for the conference and for their schools as well.
So here's the thing.
Well, with all the Mountain West schools leaving for the Pac-12 next year, there's certainly room to move those teams in there.
Here's the thing. All 4 of them could move up to FBS and be successful. The Dakotas and the Montanas, there's nothing else there. They could have some really good football teams. But what you got right now is, okay, do we play for bowls or do we play for national championships? Because if the FCS level, you're playing for national championships. If you move up to FBS, which may help you in the long run, you're not playing for national championships for a long while. It's going to take you a long time to get into an elite conference with the way they are now, if you even ever get the opportunity.
Well, and what we're hoping will happen is they drop the group of 5 teams anyway from ever getting into the playoffs, and they do their own like the FCS has their own playoffs. What would be wrong with the group of 5 of having theirs? So they're not going to get into the big boy playoffs ever.
I-
I got
I've
a feeling that's coming, guys. I really do. I feel like it's coming.
I've already said that. And I was like, that's what needs to happen. I'd watch every bit of it. I think it'd be entertaining. But next time you talk to Chris, bring that up. He'll crash out on you and tell you that it's unfair and un-American if you don't let the G5 in the playoffs. And anyway, I'll let him go through all that
Okay,
stuff.
all right. Wait a minute. He said this despite knowing that those 2 group of 5s team basically kept him out of the playoffs. His team that he was yelling the fixes in and everything else about it for a week after he realized they weren't going to the playoffs.
Yes. Same.
He supported that because if those 2 schools did not go in, he knew Notre Dame would have gone in and his wouldn't have.
Well, you never know. I mean, those 2 teams got in. If they don't get in, Notre Dame and Vanderbilt get in, right?
Well, Chris always supported that. I'll defend him on that point. But yeah, I mean, you should have had Duke, Virginia, Notre Dame, or Vanderbilt. 2 of those 4 schools deserve to be in over JMU and Tulane. That's crazy. But it's neither here nor there. We're going to move on to predictions for next round. So we're going to go ahead and make the assumption that Oregon's going to win this game. And if somehow James Madison is able to pay off the refs, the other players, the spectators, and everybody, which is not going to happen, we're going to have Oregon and Texas Tech in the Orange Bowl. That's going to be a fantastic football game, y'all. I am so excited. 2 highfalutin offenses, man. I am so excited for this game. Dean, who you got winning this game?
I'm going to take Oregon because they are Pac-10 team. But this may be the game where I finally get my both teams score 45, 42 points.
They're
each.
a Big Ten team.
I gave you it.
All right. You said they were a Pac-10 team. They're not.
Did I say Pac-10? I meant Big Ten.
You did. But they were Pac-10 forever, so I get it. Terry.
I'm going to say Texas Tech continues that magical run they got going with their $25 million roster.
Yeah, they got a $25 million roster, but make no mistake, so does Oregon. Man, they got Nike money. The CEO of Nike is a direct donor to Oregon football. Oregon is a fantastic football team. Now, you can go back to my show just 2 days ago, and you heard what I said about Oregon. Oregon's a fantastic football team. Oregon is going to win this game. I have Oregon in the national championship game. Oregon's going to beat Texas Tech, I think, by 10, 15 points, to be honest with you. That's how I see this game going down. So give me Oregon.
Okay.
Alabama and Indiana in the Rose Bowl out in Dean's territory. Who you got, Dean?
I really want to pick Indiana just because of the Big Ten thing, and they're ranked number 1 and still undefeated, and the fact that we almost beat them earlier in the season. So my gut tells me Alabama win, but I'm going to stick with Indiana.
Okay. Terry.
Yeah, as I said before, that this is probably the only chance Indiana might have their shot at a natty, and I think they're going to I don't see any blowouts by any means in the near future for them. I think they're going to have to scratch and claw their way every single game, and they're going to be worn the hell out. But as I mentioned before, I got them winning it all. So I'm sticking with Indiana thus far.
Okay. I'm going to be the odd man out again for the second week in a row because the Bama doubters are out there. I'm not a Bama fan, but here's the deal. I'm picking Alabama to win this game because, as Dean alluded to earlier, which is a great point, Iowa almost beat Indiana. Like they had them on the ropes. 20-15, man, they had them on the ropes. The problem for Indiana is Alabama does what Iowa does, but at an elite level. They run the ball, control the clock, and play fantastic defense. Same thing Iowa does. No different. The only difference is Alabama's a lot more talented than Iowa in almost every position. That's a problem for Indiana. It's because Alabama's going to do the same thing, and they're going to hold Indiana to 20 points. The problem for them is they're not holding Alabama to 15 like they did Iowa. Alabama's offense isn't stagnant like Iowa's has been. Alabama's going to win this game. I think it's going to be by a couple scores. Same thing you saw with Oklahoma, 34-24 type of game.
Okay.
So that's that. I mean, Alabama is dangerous. They went on the road and beat Georgia. Make no mistake, when this team is on, they can beat anybody in the country. Anybody. And they're better than Indiana. So Ole Miss and Georgia in the Sugar Bowl.
I think that'll be a good one.
You think so? Well, go ahead, Dean. You first.
I'm going to go with Georgia. Like you said, you felt they were the best team in America, even if they don't have the ranking right now. But Georgia's Georgia. I mean, Ole Miss has had moments, but Georgia's consistently been there. They know how to win these games. So I'm going with Georgia.
All righty. Terry.
Well, I mentioned before about, and I was trying to tell this to Chris, that Ole Miss is playing with the big chip on their shoulder ever since losing their coach. And I said that they were going to stomp the hell out of Tulane.
Which they did.
Yes. But then I said once they got to Georgia, the run ends there. Like, I think it'll be a pretty fun game to watch. It's just, I think this is where Ole Miss's chip is filled back in with some Georgia Bulldog football. So bring them back to reality now as they search for their next coach.
For sure.
Georgia wins.
I got you. So this is essentially a home game for Ole Miss because it's down in New Orleans, and I know that's in Louisiana, but that's a lot closer to Mississippi than Georgia is. But that's not going to matter. I think Georgia's the best team in the country, and Ole Miss, their lovely season ends here. They're a fantastic football team, just not better than Georgia. Hold on 1 second. All right, so last game, then we'll wrap up the show. Miami and Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl.
This is Ohio State all the way. You realize that with my picks, I've got 3 Big Ten teams in the Final Four.
I do not. So, Ohio State all the way. Terry?
I got Ohio State as well. It will be – I have 2 Big Ten teams, SEC team and Big 12 for my Final Four.
All right. So you're picking Ohio State to win this game?
That's correct.
So I too am picking Ohio State to win this game. Ohio State's just better than Miami, a lot better, to be honest with you. So I got 2 Big Ten teams, Oregon and Ohio State, and 2 SEC teams, Georgia and Alabama. But could you ask for a better Final Four than that? Ohio State, Oregon, Alabama, and Georgia? Like, when you want to see a Final Four in college football, that's the teams you want to see. Like in Final Four in basketball, you'd love to see North Carolina, Duke, Kansas, and Indiana or something. You know what I mean? Like that, you would love to see that. And that's what I think is going to happen. But thank you guys for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Messaging me.
Yeah. I'm going to the updated. Oh, it's not updated yet. I guess halftime's not over. That's a long halftime they're having out there in Eugene. But thank you guys. I'll see you next time. Everybody, thank you for watching the recap show.
All right.
Have a good one.
This beat is dope.